Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, spam and scam messages hound mobile phone users.
Dapat po kasi may maparusahan dito kasi may nag-leak ng information.
Senators call for a probe.
Ang nakakapagtaka, paano nila nakuha ang mga numbers namin? So that has to, the NTC really has to step up in this scam.
And calls to revive SIM card registration. Former Privacy Commissioner Raymond Liboro joins us live. The Senate Public Services Committee will begin its hearing on the proliferation of spam and scam text messages tomorrow. Some senators earlier revealed they were victims of such schemes. The committee will also discuss bills on SIM card registration. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Privacy and Security by Design founder and CEO and former Privacy Commissioner or Chairman Raymond Liboro. Mr. Liboro, welcome to The Source. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, Pinky, and thank you for inviting me. Always a pleasure.
So, receiving text messages really from unknown numbers is nothing new. In fact, this was something that has been discussed when you were with the National Privacy Commission. But the frequency has increased even exponentially, and now indicates the name of the person who owns that particular mobile number. Why did this happen?
Well, over time, the SMS ecosystem has become more complex. Pinky, there are more players, there are more intermediaries, there are more sources now of information. A new technology has allowed the harvesting, for example, of personal data from publicly available sites, and really marketing effort from even legitimate companies have stepped up, and they might have most of them have included the provision of using your data for business intelligence if necessary. So there are white routes in the SMS parlance. This is the legal route. There are gray routes, and there are now, of course, what we are witnessing, what they call now black routes, meaning marami ng pinagkukuhanan, and that's why ng data. That's why we're getting this, and there are many sources now of SMS.
Marami pong pinagkukunan ng data, ano po. Pero ang tanong ko kasi dati, walang pangalan eh. Ngayon, Mr. Liboro, meron ng kasamang pangalan dun sa mga text messages. Was it also because of the pandemic? Because when you talk about sources, it's easy for one to say, oh, possibly galing po ito sa mga telcos. But what really are the sources of these information that now includes the names? Would it also be social media accounts? Ano ho kaya ito na pinagsama-sama nila?
Correct. We're in the middle of a perfect storm. All right, our country is recovering from COVID. Our people are also, some of them are desperate, for example, again, for opportunities, jobs, and we easily fall prey to these scammers offering too good to be true proposals or offers. And like, ma-offer ka nga naman ng job na 5,000 pesos a day, hindi ka ba kakagat dyan ng trabaho? So, and the scammers are really capitalizing on this situation, of course, to the detriment of our citizens. But earlier, I've identified, again, to talk about the legal ways of how this can be done. You have data aggregators, for example, what you call the SMS resellers. And these are legitimate businesses that they are, para maintindihan ng lahat, they are data middlemen who actually deal legally and with telcos, right? And it's their business to aggregate data and help companies, legitimate companies, in their SMS campaigns, right? But months ago, one telco revealed, that some of the scam texts that went through their lines were coursed through these data brokers, right? So there's a data aggregator that they dealt with, and a company from China contracted these data brokers. And that is where they traced where these SMS messages are coming from, right? So it's in the United States, there are 4,000 licensed data brokers. It's a $200 billion industry, and
I see.
it's projected to grow and double in the coming years. So yan yung this they legally operate, but again, criminals have found ways on how
I
to
see.
deal and enter this system. And the second is,
So meron pong,
person-to-person
sorry, Mr.
texting.
Liboro, let me cut you there.
What
So
we
when you
call,
talk about data brokers,
SMS casters. Now, these are just software-based technology, just using a laptop and the software and a GSM-enabled phone that will make it now possible to send bulk SMS. So baka dito talaga nga rin nagmumula ito. Now, all they need is a database and, again, a SIM card, an unregistered SIM card, anonymous SIM card, and they're on their way to, and they're in business not to blast and sell and forward bulk messages.
so when you talk about data brokers, I wanted to clarify this. This is a legitimate industry. But are you saying that because of these data brokers, there could be illegitimate ones that have proliferated or surfaced, hence these scam and spam texts? Yun ho bang inyong ibig sabihin?
You're correct, Pinky. One thing with these brokers is that they lack transparency in how they conduct business. And you probably wouldn't have heard their names, Pinky. They're not well-known brands, right, in the industry, and they keep it that way. And but as I mentioned, it's a $200 billion industry even in the United States, and they of course pride themselves. I mean, it's a business of having the most number of data points in their inventory, which they sell to companies. So, for example, a company A who would wish to conduct a legitimate SMS business may contract these data brokers who will act in their behalf in dealing with the telcos. So, company A might have his own or their own database, which they give to the data brokers, but company A has no idea, for example, that their database that they supply to the brokers are also being sold by the brokers to other brokers. So it's now,
Opo.
the pasa-pasa na yung data nating lahat, no? So zeroing in on the personalized data, again, as I mentioned earlier, somebody has aggregated this personal data. They have matched names with telephones, right? I think this is a big operation because it happened, this really looked like a campaign, no? Hindi lang yung a small time aggregator who came up with a list, no? But this is really I think a campaign that they launched, and they really have a database containing our names matched with the number. Right.
But
so
here's the question.
For some reason, they were
Meron
able
bang,
to get hold of this.
Is there anyone regulating these data brokers?
Well, yes, we have these data brokers must really follow our rules, and foremost, of course, is the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Now, telcos who contract these data brokers are obligated, right, to ensure the third parties they deal with also comply with the law. So, but again, so it must be, their relationship must be covered by contractual obligations to ensure that there is end-to-end protection of personal data. So when they contract these third parties or data brokers, they should have been guaranteed or they must make sure that the data that are being used were lawfully, legitimately collected under the provisions of the DPA.
Then if we talk about telcos,
Otherwise,
because you mentioned the
it's an
telcos,
authorized
no?
processing of personal data, and there are penal provisions
Yeah,
for that.
but then it's vital, it's important that telcos actually should exercise due diligence, which I think they would, as the big telcos must be doing this, exercising due diligence in contracting these third parties or what we are calling as data brokers, hindi ho ba?
Definitely. Definitely. So, or else kasi pag hindi ganon ang nangyayari, these data brokers gain access to the telco gateway and they send this back SMS, doon na lamang sila natatrack, no, na-monitor or nabablock. So immediately, for example, no, if the telcos determine that these messages are coming from data brokers, they should really lower the boom on this on their data brokers, right? And for violating our laws, no? And
But is it really just
but
the data brokers which the telcos would employ? What about during the pandemic, Mr. Liboro? We were asked to download an app, put in vital information, and even the easier part na yung ayaw pong kumuha po ng app, mag-download ng app, sinusulat po yung mga pangalan, di ho ba, sa piece of paper before you enter a store or a mall. You put pertinent information such as your name and your phone number. Could those also be sources of these spam and scam messages due to the pandemic?
possibly, Pinky. Again, this is a large-scale collection and processing of personal data. That is why, you know, by this time, Pinky, no, lahat ng dapat na kolekta natin before, during the height of the pandemic, dapat burado na yan. Because there's a retention rule under the Data Privacy Act. No? So you can only retain it for based on the purpose. So, and I can remember very specifically that the DTI and the DOLE, in their memorandum, which they issued, I think that was in August of 2020, specified or provided that data that has been collected through health declaration forms and business establishment,
Right.
that eventually went to the LGUs, must be erased after 30 days, right? After 30 days. So, I mean, I'm calling
And I
on
wonder,
the mayors,
I actually
especially
wonder
the
if
newly
that
elected
happened.
mayors, to make
Yeah.
sure. Did they
Yeah.
erase this contact tracing and health declaration data that they have collected from us citizens? Because
Okay.
there's no purpose anymore for
I need to go on a break,
collecting
but
such.
I wanted
And
to
if ever
follow
there's
up,
an outbreak,
Mr.
then we can
Liboro.
collect again.
Okay, now that they have the names and now that they have the numbers, is there any way to reverse this?
Well, we really have to. Our authorities must really go after this. These entities who are illegally processing our personal data. So, I mean, policy-wise, right? You mentioned it earlier. A clear policy on data brokers and data aggregators would also be entertained. Of course, enforcement, and you know, our authorities should really go after this as SMS
Okay.
casters who are again illegally sending out these messages. There are technological means also that we could look into, like an SMS identity registry. I mean, SMS sender identity
Right.
registry. So that would really put, you know, a name behind these numbers. But again, these are all, you know, criminals are always a step ahead, and they find ways to continue spoofing these numbers. But again, we should not stop trying
Okay.
this method. Because
Okay, we
this
need to take.
phenomenon, Pinky, is not exclusively present in the Philippines. Other countries are also experiencing the same.
We need to take a very short break. The Source will be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, privacy and security by design founder and CEO and former privacy commissioner, Raymond Liboro. Just a couple of last questions, Mr. Liboro. I saw a tweet of Associate Justice Marvic Leon, and sabi niya nga niya, this issue must be raised. There is, of course, concern regarding this because nga nakasulat na po yung pangalan. Siguro po, it's good to find out from you, now that this is happening, how dangerous is this?
I guess, as I mentioned, Pinky, this is happening. This is actually, we're in the midst of a perfect storm. Digitalization and the pickup, meaning the digitalization of our lives have happened, have doubled in the past because of the pandemic, and the economic situation, of course, of our people, and more of our people now have access to data, and and the criminals have found a way to scrape this information somehow, and again, and use this to send personalized messages.
Okay.
And sabi ko nga, yung offeran ka nga naman ng trabaho or quick box, diba?
Opo.
You would readily fall for this. So this is very dangerous. And in fact, really, the reason I really came out was when my own son, who's in high school, told me that his classmates have also been receiving these messages. So even the minors, children, are getting this. So once
Wala
the
naman po
criminals see
pinipili
that we are unable to address this,
Yeah.
then they will be more emboldened to come up with more vicious campaigns. Right now, it's really more of the financial, the pain, financial pain that they are
Okay.
committing. But
All
it
right.
could be other more vicious crimes could also be conducted against
Okay.
against
Thank
us.
you.
So we really have to come up with ways. There's still, again, but let's just a note, Pinky. There's no single entity or organization or government agency that will be able to curb this and prevent this. This should be an all of society. We should really expand and broaden the front lines. So this would include the private sector, telcos, and most especially financial institutions, everyone. Kailangan magsama-sama. We have to share information, intelligence, so that we can quickly take down and block these numbers. So, and as we continue again to enhance our
Thank you.
defenses against it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Former Privacy Commissioner Raymond Liboro. Thank you so much for your time. Good to see you again. And we will be
Thank you,
taking a very short break. We'll be right back. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Let's now speak to PLDT and Smart Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer, Angel Redoble. Sir Angel, welcome to The Source. Let me ask you already, we have a couple of minutes left na lang po eh. What is Smart doing? How much have you spent with regards to clamping down on all these, the proliferation of all these scam and spam messages?
Okay, specific to this text scamming, smishing, even the phishing incidents or cases, no. For the past years, we've spent already, in this case only, more than 1 billion. But in the whole ecosystem of cybersecurity, combating all types of threats, including cyber terrorism, cybercrime, no. We've spent already more close to 3 billion pesos since we implemented our 3-year strategy in last quarter of 2018 up to 2019, up to this year. Yeah. And we continue to ask for more budget to continuously improve also our capabilities.
Actually, I was going to go there. That's a lot of money. With that kind of budget, how has this actually helped Smart, for example, somehow reduce the number of these spam messages and scam texts?
Well, there are two ways, no, that the scammers are using. One is the what we've seen previously in the last few months, the scam messages using fake sender IDs, no, representing supposedly legitimate entities. And if you noticed, when people during that time, subscribers during that time, they were receiving messages coming from companies. But since June, when this was given to the task of the under my department, so we've drastically prevented already scammers from sending messages using legitimate messages. No, so they shifted to the other way to do it, which is the person-to-person messaging. And when person-to-person messaging, uh, it does not go through our platform because we are not allowed also to look into messages. So this is now what they're doing now. What we are doing in Smart, no, is to make sure that we continuously and quickly block the mobile numbers that are being utilized. I believe Globe is also doing the same, and also block the links, the domains or the websites that are embedded in that smishing messages or scam messages. So in that way, even if the user inadvertently open the link, it is already blocked in our network, that preventing the users from becoming victims of these scammers. However, Pinky, that is not enough. No, this problem needs a whole of community approach. So when the National Privacy Commission called for a meeting last week, we proposed, no, to take this to another level, which is to do a joint investigation effort with the objective of identifying the scammers, the operators here in the Philippines. No? In that way, we'd be able to get to the bottom of this issue and finally put a stop. No, because before we were just asked to explain if there were cybersecurity related incidents in our environment that led to the breach of personal information. No, but in this case, because we have a 24/7 cybersecurity operations, we did not see anything outside of normal behavior in our environment. No, and when we did our own internal investigation, we were able to come up with a possibility on how this is being done. Because if you notice, there are two types of names that are used by the scammers. The one format is coming from a GCash format, GCash name format, which is the first name and the first letter of the name, the surname. And the other one is whatever you're using in Viber. The message I received is using my name that I'm using in Viber. And the other people that we also tested are also using Viber, no, and GCash. So we tested how could this possibly be done. So in GCash, if you're familiar with GCash, before the transaction is processed, there is a checking phase. So if you have a mobile number, you go to GCash app, you put that number, you'll be able to check the name of that person without
Right. It
complete
reflects. Yes.
transaction.
Opo.
Yes. In Viber, it's the same. If you have a mobile number, you go to Viber, you
Yeah. I agree.
add this number, you will be able to see the name, right? But we tested that in a manual basis. It seems that the scammers are able to find a way to automate this process. In which way, in as a result, they are able to harvest names with the format of GCash and names in the format of Viber
I see.
in an automated manner. So they get more, and then I think it's loaded automatically to their whatever they're
Okay.
using to pass their SMS.
Sir Angel, very quick answer, please. Would the SIM card registration be a big help?
It would be, but I don't think it will put a stop 100% because sorry, the scammers are getting better. Now they always find a way to circumvent our controls, and probably when the SIM card registration is in place and fully implemented, these scammers will just go full blast on chat platforms like Viber, WhatsApp, Telegram. No, so
Yeah.
that is
Okay.
also one thing that we need to anticipate.
Opo. Sorry, I have a follow-up because I asked this kay Mr. Liboro. Now that they have the names and numbers, can this be reversed? Andun na po eh. It's already, nandun na po sa database. Is there any way to reverse this?
I don't know what to reverse, but what we can do, Miss Pinky, is to what we are already doing internally is to identify all these SIM cards, no, that have been bought with, for example, we've identified the first four numbers, no, that have been prevalently being used in the scam messages or text scams that we have monitored. So we are now looking for this series and try to find out where this series of SIM cards went to. No, in that case,
Okay.
we'd be able to help. Yeah, and then block all these numbers, block all these means,
Already.
so that
Yeah.
even those SIM cards that the scammers haven't used yet, will no longer be able to.
Block na rin siya.
They will no longer
Okay.
be able to use.
Opo. Thank you, sir. PLDT and Smart Vice President and Chief Information Security Officer Angel Redoble. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Pinky.
And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.